Welcome everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins where everyday pocket change can sometimes hide treasures worth millions, and today we are going to unravel the incredible story of the 1998 quarter-dollar coin that has shocked collectors, historians, and investors alike, with a value rumored to reach an astonishing $40 million because of its unique errors, striking mistakes, and the extraordinary circumstances that make it one of the most valuable pieces of modern American coinage ever discovered. And as we begin this journey together, we need to understand that coins are not just metallic tokens of commerce but miniature historical documents, minted with precision and intent, yet subject to human and mechanical error, which in turn creates opportunities for rarity, mystery, and immense worth. And the 1998 quarter dollar stands out because while millions of these quarters were minted in Philadelphia, only a tiny fraction bear the types of errors that transform them from loose change into museum-worthy artifacts. So let's peel back the layers of its story and explore why this quarter has become a numismatic legend worth big money, and how every small imperfection tells a tale that collectors are willing to pay fortunes to possess. Starting with the context of the late 1990s, when the U.S. Mint was gearing up for the historic launch of the state quarters program in 1999, which meant that the 1998 quarters were among the final issues of the long-running Washington Quarter series that had been in continuous production since 1932, and within this transition came heightened minting activity, worn-down equipment, and overworked dies, all of which contributed to the creation of error coins. So when we talk about a 1998 quarter dollar being valued at $40 million, we are not discussing an ordinary piece of change but an extraordinary survivor from a chaotic minting environment, and one of the first errors that makes certain 1998 quarters so remarkable is the double die obverse, a mistake where the coin's design was struck twice with slight misalignment, producing doubled lettering on the words, "In God We Trust," or "Liberty," and sometimes even faint doubling on George Washington's profile itself. And this type of doubling is extremely appealing to collectors because it is not just a small scratch or nick but an actual minting anomaly, created before the coin even left the mint, which means it is an authentic flaw and not post-mint damage, and coins with sharp, clear doubling are among the most sought-after errors in all of numismatics. But the 1998 quarter has more to offer, because certain examples are known to have off-center strikes where the coin blank was not perfectly aligned with the dies, leading to a design that spills off the edge and leaves part of the quarter blank, and the degree of this misalignment determines rarity, with minor off-centers worth hundreds but dramatic 50% off-center strikes potentially worth tens of thousands or more. And when a coin combines multiple errors, such as a double die obverse with an off-center strike, it enters a new level of desirability that can drive prices into the stratosphere. And this is exactly where the legendary $40 million valuation comes into play, because the most famous 1998 quarter is believed to contain a once-in-a-lifetime combination of errors including doubling, die cracks, clipped planchet edges, and even wrong planchet strikes where the quarter design was accidentally struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination such as a nickel or a foreign coin. And these types of minting mishaps are so rare that even seasoned collectors may never encounter one in their lifetime. And to truly grasp the magnitude of this coin's value, we need to explore each error type in detail. So let's linger on the wrong planchet strikes because they are especially fascinating. Imagine a quarter design struck on a copper-colored cent planchet, producing a coin smaller and lighter than normal but unmistakably bearing Washington's portrait and the quarter reverse design. Such a coin is instantly identifiable and considered a spectacular mint error. And even beyond that, there are reports of 1998 quarters being struck on experimental planchets as the mint-tested materials in preparation for the state quarters program, and those experimental strikes are numismatic holy grails because they were never meant for circulation, yet a few managed to escape. And then there are die cracks and cuds, where aging or broken dies left raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the coin's surface, forming distinctive patterns that are unique to each error coin. And while most die cracks are minor and collectible only to specialists, dramatic cuds that obliterate parts of the design are highly prized, especially when combined with other major errors. And now if we imagine a single coin from 1998 bearing multiple anomalies, doubling on the obverse, an off-center strike, a clipped edge, a die cud, and struck on an experimental planchet, it becomes a perfect storm of rarity that pushes its valuation into the realm of tens of millions. And this is what makes the story of the 1998 quarter so captivating, because while the average person might see just a simple quarter worth 25 cents, in the right circumstances it could be hiding the potential to pay for a mansion, a luxury yacht, or even a small island. And part of the intrigue comes from the fact that error coins often circulate unnoticed for years, rattling around in vending machines and cash drawers before a sharp-eyed collector recognizes the telltale signs of a minting mistake. So imagine the thrill of finding a 1998 p-quarter in your change and realizing that the coin you hold could be valued not at 25 cents but at $40 million, and that possibility is what fuels the treasure hunting spirit of coin collectors around the world. And we also have to remember that the value of a coin is not just about rarity but also about condition, because a coin with mint errors that remains in pristine, uncirculated condition is exponentially more valuable than one that is worn, scratched, or bent. And that is why professional grading by companies like PCGS or NGC is essential in establishing authenticity and condition. And when one of these grading services confirms a spectacular error on a 1998 p-quarter in near-perfect condition, it can create headlines in the numismatic community and spark bidding wars among wealthy collectors who are eager to own a one-of-a-kind piece. And while some people may doubt the plausibility of a $40 million quarter, history has shown that rare coins can indeed command astronomical sums, with examples like the 1933 St. Gaudens double eagle fetching over $18 million at auction, the 1794 flowing hair dollar bringing more than $10 million, and countless other rarities achieving record-breaking prices. So when we apply that precedent to the unique situation of the 1998 p-quarter, it becomes entirely believable that collectors would drive its value to such unprecedented heights, especially when the coin is not just rare but singular, an absolute one-of-a-kind specimen. And the cultural context also plays a role because the late 1990s was a turning point in American coinage with the end of an era for the Washington quarter design and the beginning of a bold new chapter with the state quarters, and coins minted during transitional periods often carry greater historical significance, making them more attractive to collectors, and the Philadelphia Mint itself has a rich history of producing both standard and error coins. And its output in the late 1990s was especially scrutinized by numismatists looking for anomalies, so a 1998 p-quarter with spectacular errors ties directly into that narrative, adding another layer of significance. And beyond the technicalities of minting errors, the emotional and psychological aspect of owning such a coin cannot be ignored, because for the collector who acquires it, they are not just buying a piece of metal but a story, a legend, a tangible link to American history and the fallibility of the mint. And that emotional pull is often what drives collectors to pay prices that seem unthinkable to outsiders, and this is why the story of the 1998 p-quarter continues to fascinate audiences on YouTube, in coin forums, and among investors who see rare coins not just as collectibles but as alternative assets with the potential to appreciate in value. And when you consider the combination of historical context, spectacular mint errors, condition rarity, emotional appeal, and the precedent of astronomical coin prices, the idea of a 1998 p-quarter dollar being worth $40 million begins to make perfect sense, and it also serves as a reminder to everyone listening that hidden treasures may still exist in everyday life, tucked away in jars of spare change, overlooked in bank rolls, or resting quietly in old family collections, waiting for someone with the knowledge and curiosity to recognize their true value. And that is why collectors never stop searching, because the next great discovery could be just around the corner. And the 1998 p-quarter dollar is proof that even in the modern era of mass production, miracles of rarity and value can still emerge. And so as we wrap up this incredible journey into the story of the 1998 p-quarter worth $40 million, remember that the world of coins is as much about possibility as it is about reality, and whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a curious beginner, the thrill of discovery. Next, today's deep dive into one of the most fascinating and surprising stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that involves a coin most people would overlook in their daily change, yet because of its unique qualities, its extraordinary errors, and the possibilities tied to its production, the 1995 p-quarter dollar coin has gained attention among collectors and investors alike for being worth an astounding $8 million, and in this journey we are about to take together, you will learn not only about the coin itself but also the reasons why a simple 25-cent piece from 1995 could end up being valued at millions, how minting mistakes transform ordinary currency into legendary treasures, and why this particular coin has captured imaginations and fortunes across the numismatic community. So sit back and let's embark on a long exploration of everything that makes this coin so incredibly valuable, from the design, to the minting process, to the unique errors that occurred, and to the collectors who have elevated its status into the realm of rare treasure. When we talk about the 1995 p-quarter dollar coin, we are referring to a coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by the small P mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse side, a detail that most everyday Americans would not even notice, but to numismatists, that mark provides a vital clue about the origins and potential value of the coin, and in this case, it opens the door to understanding how minting conditions, technical mishaps, and human oversight can combine to create something one of a kind, something so rare that it moves from pocket change to multi-million-dollar collectible, and the very fact that this particular quarter is associated with errors makes it stand out immediately because collectors chase error coins more aggressively than many other categories, knowing that mint mistakes often result in coins that exist in extremely limited numbers, and rarity is always the bedrock of value in collecting. The 1995 P quarter has been reported to show a wide variety of striking anomalies that contribute to its extraordinary value, such as double die errors where the design elements appear duplicated or shadowed because of improper hubbing during the die creation process, making the words "Liberty" or "In God We Trust" look like they have ghostly outlines or extra thickness, something that can be clearly seen under magnification and sometimes even with the naked eye, and such doubling is always a magnet for attention because it gives the coin a distinctive appearance that cannot be replicated in later strikes, essentially locking in uniqueness for every error specimen, and that uniqueness creates desirability among collectors who want to own a piece of the mint's history of imperfection. Beyond doubled dies, the 1995 P quarter has also been associated with off-center strikes where the blank planchet was not properly seated in the collar at the moment of striking, leading to coins that have partial images, blank areas, or distorted rims, and depending on how dramatic the off-center is, the coin can either be intriguing or breathtakingly valuable, with the most significant examples showing a clear offset but still preserving the date and mint mark, a combination that greatly enhances its desirability. And when you consider that such misalignments are extremely rare in quarters, especially ones that escape into circulation, you start to see why the 1995 P with these traits has become legendary. Another possibility that adds to its allure is the occurrence of planchet errors, meaning the metal disc that would become the coin was flawed before even reaching the presses, with instances of wrong planchet strikes where a quarter design was mistakenly struck onto a dime or foreign coin blank, resulting in a lighter or smaller coin carrying all the hallmarks of a quarter design but missized and misweighted, something that immediately stands out to an experienced eye and becomes a true treasure. And for the 1995 P series, collectors have documented examples that suggest such errors did indeed occur, each one becoming a story unto itself of the mint's strict processes breaking down in a moment of chance. Even strike-through errors, where foreign material such as grease, cloth fibers, or other debris gets between the die and planchet during the striking process, leaving unusual textures, missing design details, or ghost-like impressions, have been tied to the 1995 P quarter, making each error variant a different kind of collectible that fits into the broader puzzle of why this coin series is so fascinating to specialists. The Philadelphia Mint in the mid-1990s was producing hundreds of millions of quarters annually, and in that environment of mass production, occasional lapses in quality control could allow errors to escape, but it is not every year that such a wide range of anomalies surface on the same date and mint coin, making 1995 P a standout year for error enthusiasts. And the scarcity of verified surviving examples only enhances the sense of rarity and urgency to own one, and that urgency translates directly into soaring auction prices and private sales that can reach astronomical figures like the reported $8 million. To put that number into perspective, imagine a coin you once used in a vending machine or laundry suddenly becoming worth more than luxury cars, mansions, or even small businesses, and that is exactly the kind of shock factor that makes stories about the 1995 P quarter spread far beyond numismatic circles, capturing mainstream interest because it speaks to the possibility that treasure still exists in everyday life, hiding in plain sight. Collectors who specialize in Washington quarters, a series that began in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, know that the series offers many valuable issues, but few match the dramatic combination of rarity, error variety, and collector intrigue that define the 1995 P coin, and in particular, its status as an error-rich year has put it in the spotlight, leading to major bidding wars and jaw-dropping valuations. When one considers the psychology of collectors, it becomes clear why a coin like this would skyrocket in value. The rarity is unquestioned, the condition of surviving examples can vary, but the best ones with sharp error details are considered irreplaceable, and the narrative surrounding the coin, of a common object transformed by mistake into a legend, resonates with people in a way that elevates demand, and demand is the ultimate driver of price. But the fascination doesn't stop with known errors, because in coin collecting, the possibilities of what might exist also fuel value, and the 1995 P-quarter invites endless speculation about whether undiscovered varieties are still out there in rolls of coins, in old jars of change sitting in attics, or even in circulation today, waiting for someone with a sharp eye to spot them. And that possibility makes the coin almost mythic in status, encouraging both seasoned collectors and newcomers to keep searching, to keep dreaming that they might find the next $8 million specimen. The educational aspect of this coin also cannot be ignored, because studying the 1995 P-quarter gives people a window into how coins are made, how errors happen, and how those errors become history, teaching lessons about the interplay between precision engineering and human fallibility, and that deeper appreciation adds intangible value that further cements the coin's place in numismatic lore. The stories that accompany these coins are just as important as the metal they are struck from, with each auction appearance, each collector discovery, and each article written adding layers of legend to the tale, and legends in collecting often become self-fulfilling, where the more people talk about and chase a coin, the higher its perceived and real value climbs, creating a feedback loop that explains how a quarter could reasonably reach $8 million in value. When we step back and consider the broader picture, the 1995 P-quarter exemplifies the magic of numismatics, where history, error, rarity, and human passion intersect, reminding us that value is not always about the intrinsic worth of metal but about the stories and uniqueness embedded in an object, and that perspective is what transforms ordinary money into extraordinary treasures. Southwest, as we close this exploration of the 1995 P-quarter dollar coin, its errors, mistakes, and the extraordinary possibilities that have made it worth millions, remember that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and sometimes, the smallest, most overlooked objects can hold the greatest secrets, the most thrilling stories, and the highest values. And if you enjoyed this incredible deep dive into the mystery and value of the 1995 P-quarter dollar, make sure you stay connected with us. For more unbelievable stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and the fascinating history of money, because you never know when you might be holding a fortune right in the palm of your hand. And with that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this journey with others who love the thrill of discovery just as much as you do. Last, we dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and the unbelievable stories that transform ordinary pocket change into fortunes beyond imagination. And in this journey we will explore the 1997 P-quarter dollar coin. A coin that on the surface might look like just another everyday piece of American currency, but one that has been rumored to have sold for as much as $11 million because of its remarkable errors, unique mistakes, and the extraordinary possibilities that come from minting anomalies that collectors go wild over. And as we peel back the layers of history, design, minting techniques, and the passion of numismatists who dedicate their lives to chasing down rare coins, you will discover exactly why a simple 25-cent coin can fetch an astronomical sum that makes it more valuable than some houses, cars, or even pieces of art, and why the 1997 P-quarter has found itself in the spotlight as one of the most intriguing coins of modern United States currency, a reminder that treasure can be hiding in plain sight, even in the coins rattling around in your pocket or sitting forgotten in a drawer at home. And to understand its value we first have to examine the context of American coinage in the 1990s, a time when the Philadelphia Mint, represented by the P Mint mark, was churning out millions upon millions of quarters using advanced machinery but still prone to mistakes that could slip past the quality control process. And among these mistakes were off-center strikes where the die failed to line up properly with the blank planchet, creating a quarter with parts of the design missing or shifted, and double die errors where elements like the date, the word liberty, or even the motto "In God We Trust" would appear doubled, creating a ghost-like effect that immediately caught the eye of seasoned collectors. And there were also planchet errors such as a quarter struck on the wrong type of metal blank, like a dime planchet, producing a smaller, thinner coin that carried the full design of a quarter but weighed less and looked slightly off. And then you had broad strike errors where the coin was not properly held in the collar die during striking, allowing the metal to spread out wider than usual, giving the coin a larger, stretched appearance. And each of these types of errors on a 1997 P-quarter could instantly make it rare. But the true multi-million-dollar examples came from combinations of these mistakes or spectacular anomalies where two or more minting errors occurred together, creating an irreplaceable one-of-a-kind specimen that no other collector could ever duplicate. And that is where the magic of the $11 million valuation comes in, because in the world of coin collecting rarity is king, and a coin that is one of only a handful is worth something, but a coin that is truly unique, with unmistakable errors that prove it could never be replicated, becomes priceless to the right collector with deep Enough pockets, and if we explore some of the most discussed 1997 p-quarter errors, we find tales of coins struck off-center by more than 50% while still showing a full visible date and mint mark, an alignment that is almost unheard of and thus skyrockets the value. And then there are double-die obverse coins where the doubling of the word liberty is so dramatic that even without magnification it looks like a shadow hovering right over the letters, and such bold doubling is so desirable that collectors fight tooth and nail to add them to their collections. And then we hear whispers of 1997 p-quarters struck on experimental planchets, possibly copper-nickel alloys not intended for mass release, which slipped through into circulation and now represent a tangible mystery about what exactly happened at the mint that year. And when such coins are authenticated and verified by leading grading companies like PCGS or NGC, their rarity is locked in forever, and suddenly a coin that once jingled in someone's pocket becomes a centerpiece worth millions. And beyond the known errors, there are also the possibilities that fuel speculation, because when you have a coin from such a high production year, it is always possible that undiscovered varieties are still hiding out there waiting to be found, perhaps in someone's coin jar, perhaps in a collection that has been sitting untouched in an attic for decades. And that possibility alone drives excitement, the dream that you could be the lucky one to stumble upon a coin with a rare strike-through error where foreign material got pressed into the coin during minting, leaving a unique indented imprint, or perhaps a mule error where the reverse of a quarter was accidentally paired with the obverse die of another denomination, creating a hybrid coin that was never supposed to exist. And the chance of such errors may be small, but they are not impossible, and history has shown that when such mistakes surface they send shockwaves through the numismatic community, instantly catapulting their value to stratospheric levels. And with the 1997 p-quarter, the legend of an $11 million sale has only fueled the fire of collectors worldwide, reminding us that in coin collecting the line between ordinary and extraordinary can be razor thin, and what most people dismiss as pocket change can sometimes be the ticket to unimaginable wealth. And the reason behind this lies not only in the errors themselves but in the passion and psychology of collectors, because a collector with the means to acquire a one-of-a-kind coin does not just see it as metal, they see it as history, as art, as a physical piece of America's story, something that was never meant to exist but somehow does, and in owning it they feel connected to the mystery of the mint, the fallibility of human systems, and the eternal pursuit of rarity. And that is why someone would be willing to pay millions for a single quarter, because to them it is more than money, it is legacy, and it is bragging rights within the numismatic world where rarity and uniqueness define greatness. And as we continue to look deeper, we find that the 1997 p-quarters legend also draws strength from the larger movement in coin collecting during the 1990s leading into the 50-state quarters program, which would begin in 1999. And that era created an explosion of interest in quarters, turning ordinary Americans into casual collectors, and with that surge came an even greater awareness of mint errors, and the realization that coins from the late 90s could hold secrets worth fortunes. And so the 1997 p-quarter sits right on the cusp of this golden wave of collecting, benefiting from both its minting mistakes and the cultural phenomenon that followed, making it even more iconic. And when you combine the factual errors, the speculative possibilities, and the cultural context, you get a coin that is surrounded by myth, intrigue, and awe, perfectly primed to achieve headline-grabbing prices in private sales where rarity can trump rationality. And this is what makes the story of the 1997 p-quarter so captivating, because it shows us that value is not always about what something is made of, but about the stories, the mistakes, and the passion that surround it. And so when we speak of an $11 million quarter, it is not just about a piece of metal with errors, it is about the dream that drives collectors, the tiny slip-ups at the mint that change everything, and the magic of finding treasure where no one thought to look. And with that, I hope this deep dive into the world of the 1997 p-quarter has sparked your imagination, reminded you to check your change carefully, and shown you how extraordinary value can be hidden in the most ordinary places. And if you enjoyed this journey into the mysteries of coin collecting, be sure to join us again for more stories of history, treasure, and the unbelievable world of rare coins. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss another incredible discovery that might just change the way you look at the coins in your pocket forever.